and I'm a blessed man to be able to get up and get this thing started. Yesterday I was miserable. Uh, Took the day off from work so I could recover, and I think it worked. I think I'm going to take one more day off so that I can um, definitely. Let's see here. I want to make sure I got the right one on here. Um, Nothing ever works right, but it does. Let's make sure that I am set up here because I didn't really feel well yesterday, and so we might have to um, do a little bit of rope a dope here. Hopefully, all is well. And let's see what we got here. Just trying to make sure that my um, that I'm tracking right, because sometimes whenever I use a yep, so we are tracking right, and just trying to make sure that my um, I got a sound check. That I'm tracking right, because sometimes whenever I use, yeah, there you go. Yep, I'm tracking right. Everybody's kumbaya. Um, anyway, so if you so inclined, please share, like, subscribe, share this video, like this video, should subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment. Let me know how I'm doing. You want to join me? Please join me and leave a comment here or on my other two channels. You can find me on A Latter-day Saint on Fire or Paul and AJ's Ex-Mormon Files. Lots of good discussions in there. And we got this new channel here, For the Love of God Network. We also have a Facebook group called For the Love of God. And we have the, uh, you can reach me at Arthur A.J. Hill. Again, you can email me or however you want to do it. I am available, and I would love to have others join me on this Zoomcast so that we can uh, um, uh, uh, bounce off ideas from to each other so that we can uh, understand the gospel even more that way. Excuse me. Still got a little bit of cold. I'm a lot better now. I'll tell you right now, I was dead. I was like telling jokes yesterday about uh, just when I called my friends or whatever, I'd tell them, yeah, I'm at the graveyard right now, just waiting for my turn. And told my wife when she was coming home from work, I said, just meet me at the graveyard. I'll be the one lying 6 feet under somewhere. You just cover me. But anyway, there's a little bit of humor in all things, and really, when you're feeling that bad, you try to do everything you can to overcome the illness that you're feeling at the time. And anyway, so I got this message yesterday that a person wants to know how I know there's a God. And I think we could do that here for a little bit. It doesn't take me long, and hopefully this will help them on their journey or help those that are having a hard time with the uh, relationship with God and knowing. And so it's really hard to use history as a way to know if there's a God. And the Bible is a history book, and so is the Book of Mormon, Doctrine and Covenants, and Pearl of Great Price. There are things that we have historically that says these persons have interacted with God, and here's the great miracles that they've performed while in his presence, or whatever that looks like to me. But again, that for me is you have to interpret, you have to have faith. You have to there's more of a trust issue there. So for me, I think I do things a little bit different. Um, I don't use uh, religious text to prove there's a God. Um, how I how I prove there's a God, and it's been effective over the years. I keep on coming up with new information. Um, but here's how it goes. The body has 30 trillion cells, and it has 30 trillion atoms in each one of those cells. And throughout, and the universe is 96 billion light years in distance. And a light year is 5 trillion miles per each light year. So sun 96 billion times 5 trillion. And this is just in one direction, not, the span of the universe. And whenever the scientists speak, they say the known universe. They don't speak as the universe in that they feel like there's more space that exists. There's no wall at the end of the universe. Space just continues on. So these numbers are skewed because we don't know anything more than what we have based on our technology we have today and estimations. So just to share some more information, I looked these items up. Um, it says well, there's 2 trillion galaxies and there's 100 million stars. And then there is 800 billion to 3.2 trillion planets in each one of those, or in the Milky Way. All right. So, and then they say that there are 400 million uh, planets in our own galaxy that has the capacity to have life on them. Um, so, given those numbers, we can rule out that we're alone. 2 trillion times 400 million. And the number is so staggering that um, we can't really comprehend it. All right. Um, these are large numbers, but they exist. It's kind of interesting that if you take the numbers I just talked about, 2 trillion times the 3.2 trillion planets, and then you take the 100 million stars in each galaxy, and you combine those together and say that that Abraham's conversation with God was correct. That that his children would number the sands of the sea or the stars in heaven. And again, what they understood about that idea back then was what they seen. They didn't understand the expanse of space. Now, Abraham, if you believe in the book of Abraham, then you would know that he was taken into the heavens, so he would understand that a little bit more. Again, then but that doesn't necessarily say there's a God, but at least it gives us an understanding that we're probably not alone in the universe. There's probably others who are much like us, but the I was I'm coming up with a thought here. Uh, again, we are our society, starting with Abraham, is 7,000 years old, and if and even if our planet has had some habitation on it for maybe uh, 10 million years or whatever that looks like, um, it still dwarfs in time compared to how long the universe has been. And I'm one of those guys that says the universe has always been. It's never was not created. Joseph Smith wrote that matter has always been. So all things have always been eternal. There's never been a beginning or end to all things. And but they've been organized over time. We can see the organization of stars, moons, and suns continue on and within our universe. We observe these things happening over time, taking examples from one developed star to another. And so again, and then you take the idea that somehow that 13.8 billion years ago you had a big bang, but you have a span of universe 96 billion light years. Okay, so the affected area from the Big Bang should be small. It should not be expansive like that. And then you have a star that my brother told me about that, or yeah, a star that's been estimated to be about 14 billion years old. So that kind of puts uh, a wrench in that works for 13.8 billion years ago from a single point that the universe expanded. Um, Also, again, the affected area should be only about, it took about 8 billion years for the planet, the Earth to be developed. Um, so, if that's true, then the affected area beyond 13.8 billion light years should be uh, dead space, nothing out there. But there is, and it's endless. All right. So you can't go with scientists and have any confidence in what they have to say. I'm a Fred Hoyle guy, an Einstein guy. I said, like I said, the universe has always been and never has ceased to exist. And I've got this curious thing to say that God and the universe are one and the same. Now that kind of what? Well, again, within the universe, there are those who uh, are are like Jesus Christ, who even though he was God, because he created all things pertaining to this earth and many other worlds, but he's an individual within the greater expanse of what God is. And the word God, and again, I got people that watching, and I appreciate you guys coming out and listening. And again, whatever I can do to help your journey, I hope I can do that because I'm working hard at just getting up in the morning. But again, I want to make sure that you know that I care and I love you and I appreciate you guys for coming out and sharing time with me. But anyway, so you the uh, where'd I go? Lost my mind. But uh, again, the Big Bang doesn't have any uh, real foundation. We can see what I believe. There's been large stars in each quadrant, and they've exploded and they've made hot spots, but we can't see all those hot spots because we don't have the technology. So, and I think the other scientists are kind of getting into that. Um, the and so so can we use those numbers and we can use that explanation to prove there's a God? And like I said, within the universe, we have individuals that are known as gods. Again, Jesus Christ. Um, and then you have our Father in heaven, who came from an earth much like our own, and we become like him. Uh, Again, but like I said, these things were only, what would you say, looking at them in a lot of faith, unless you've had some really grandiose spiritual experience like Joseph Smith or Moses or somebody like that, then you really don't have that conclusive uh, 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 conclusion that God lives. Um, here's where I really develop my attachment to God. And I hope this works for the person that needs this more than most of us do. Sometimes we all need it. Again, uh, look at the development of our own technology. Look at our pursuits today and where we are going with those pursuits. Again, we believe that our Father in heaven colonized this earth through Adam and Eve. That again, for me, there was other species of humans already living on the earth, but the our Father in heaven actually created Adam and Eve for His purpose, so He could save all mankind and all things here on this earth. And then you have what what is our drive in life right now? Again, we are seeking to colonize other planets. Elon Musk is all over this Mars thing. We're trying to explore greater expanse uh, of 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 the universe or the galaxy, so we could actually expand our footprint on the galaxy itself. Um, and then you have um, our genetic alteration of plants and animals, or especially plants. I don't know about animals, but plants, where we are taking plants uh, that fight one disease, and we are blending them with other plants that can enable them to withstand the diseases or the pests that come, like cow corn that we feed the cows. They call it Starlink. They blend a peanut derivative to corn, and they blend that through genetic splicing, and then they create a more hardier plant. So, and we're looking at, trying to develop tissues and to rebuild the human body. And the if you look at AI and its development, now that it's coming up, you can see that technology is allowing us to reach even farther into uh, holding on to memory. None like I mean, now we're using a chip about that big to hold on to incredible amounts of memory that allows us to play music until we die if we have a playlist that big, right? And you could insert that chip into the mind of a robot, and all you have to do is create. And in the what was that movie with Robin Williams, Millennial Man or something like that? Again, those things. What we it's like Star Trek. What we seen back in '63 in their development of of ideas uh, seems to be coming more and more real in our day. I mean, they had that little flip thing that they for transmitter receiver, and they were using. So now we had the flip phone, and then all of a sudden we have something a greater technology that we have today. We can search the internet and things like that. So again, and one of the things that people don't understand about the Tower of Babel, uh, and we could go there real quick. Let's go there. Where's right? Let me go find it real quick. Tower of Babel, um, the Old Testament, and I'll share the screen so you can follow me. Like I'm scrambling to get there. Um, that I'm actually working and while I'm talking, and like, well, what's going on here? All right, well, it's working, and I don't know. There it is. So Genesis, I believe we're going to chapter 8, maybe. No, chapter 11. Yeah, okay, chapter 11. And you can see, and the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men build. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Again, their technology, their oneness in in that language allowed them to um, uh, create whatever they imagined. So God confused their languages, and the people were confused, and the Jaredites take off to the New World and all that kind of stuff. And again, if you look at the world today, our our capacity to communicate across different languages barriers that were once there is incredible. Now we can just take out our phone and we can talk to a person that we have no clue what the language is. And again, thank you for joining me today. I'm just trying to help out a person that's having a hard time knowing there's a God. So I wanted to start here, and then we'll get to the come follow me. But I think this helps a lot of people. Again, we are breaking down those language barriers, and therefore our technology is boomed because of that. And and so the capacity that we have to invent. I mean, if we don't destroy each other first, I mean that's the problem. I mean, with technology, you know you bring up new ways of killing each other, and that's what's going on. Unfortunately, we have wars and we have egos and we have and like we can't, how can we say, well, that land's mine? Well, again, I know there's strategic purposes of each country, and we have, and you know, there's division between these countries and the societies. But really, I mean, why can't you just make a treaty with another country and say, hey, you know, we'd just like to use your ports, and we mean no harm to nobody. We're just, you know, we got to protect ourselves, but we're not here to. But yet Russia goes into Ukraine because some more available uh, space to launch ships and things like that, or to bring in goods and things like that. I mean, again, Hugh Nibley and his idea was that Israel was a strategic uh, uh, point in the world, the map of the world, and that most countries were trying to take advantage of that by getting a solid footing there, and even Germany went after it, and Napoleon went after it, according to what he told. But anyway, again, uh, let's go back a little bit. That a lot of people get hung up on the word God is the problem. They identify the word God as being one idea, when in actuality, the word God means that which affects the human and the environment. Uh, uh, and so it's just not. And so, and the word God is also used for those who sit in the balconies and because they sit above on the thrones. And um, again, even the word Lord is interchangeable a lot of times with the word God, and it is used for those who have authority, have what would you say, are stewards over different parts of the world, and they create an honor for themselves, and others bow at their bow at the king and things like that. But the word God is has been used in such a way in a reckless way that is stifled people's uh, freedoms and based on the fact that if you don't believe in my God, then you're going to hell and trying to force people into ideas like that. Again, the word God is not singular. It's not the one supernatural being that creates the universe. The universe has already been, and therefore, inside that universe is individuals that have gained greater knowledge of how to create and how to, yeah, again, colonize and other planets. And they've done that. And our Father in Heaven colonized this one and many others. And then you have And we ourselves are becoming more and more godlike with our technology boom. And in 1,000 years, what are we going to be able to do? All right. And again, if you're struggling with the idea that there's a God, you look into ourselves and you're saying we are having those godlike attributes, and the fact that the universe exists, it has dominion over us. It affects our affects us, it affects nature, and it affects man, and therefore when we stub our toe, it's going to hurt. All right, it will hurt if you stub your toe, like I did this morning, getting out of the room into my office here. Um, so consequences are always a part of the universe, and therefore it affects us. And whether we want to believe it or not, it becomes God, in in essence. Yes, it's semantics and whatever, but again, the bottom line of that is the the belief in God or a God is really a philosophy. It's not it's not what would you say, hinged on fact. It's really based on philosophy. Here's the reason I say that. Because even Satan denied God at his place. Now he has to be submissive to him because he can't do anything else. I mean, eventually he gets locked up. But again, we can deny the God of the creation all we want, and therefore and say there is no God because I don't I don't see him as God. But to say that there's nothing outside of ourselves that exists is kind of, like I said, given all the numbers, 400 million planets in our own galaxy that has the capacity to have life on it. And then you have 2 trillion galaxies. The numbers are staggering. You can't deny that the numbers are not there to at least have a, a reasonable law of averages that there's not others. And because the universe has always been, because that's the only way you have so much mass in the universe, then we are very young. We are not very old as a society. And because of that, there's others have already achieved greater knowledge and understanding. I'm going to throw this one last thing at you. Okay. God speaks things into existence. All right. So we have 3D printers. We have Google. All right. So if you hooked up your 3D printer to the Google, and let me take care of something here. And if you hooked up your 3D printer to Google, you say, "Hey, Google," I got that little thing in my room. Anyway, you tell it, you say, I need a bolt, uh, 3 inches long, 9/16 hex head, 16 threads per inch. And all of a sudden, the the printer prints out a bolt for you. So it's archaic, absolutely, compared to what God can do, but we're speaking things into existence because we have that capacity. And like I said, in 1,000 years, what does that look like? We could talk to our phone. How small, we could, downsize the phone by a lot. There's a lot of things going on in the world that we don't have to uh, contemplate whether or not we are becoming God, having, uh, uh, achieving godlike attributes. It's there. It's absolutely there. And we're running into things that people are afraid of. Again, the cloning and all those other things that are going on. And can we develop DNA? Well, they know how DNA is constructed, and they're at least 20 years ago or 15 years ago, whatever it was, BYU was looking into uh, re rebuilding some DNA that was destroyed, and trying to give a better understanding of how the uh, some of the parchments of the Dead Sea Scrolls were. But anyway, so again, as we uh, continue in our development, we are even looking into creating our own DNA, uh, uh, and from that, creating a species or a human from that DNA that we created ourselves. Uh, but for me, I say these things already been done by those who are higher power and uh, 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 have already advanced themselves in the universe to know these things already. So anyway, so I jawed for about 30 minutes on that subject. I hope you weren't bored with it. I hope that gave you a lot of insight on where my brain is on the matter when it comes to God and how I say there is God because of those facts. Um, Again, the Big Bang is garbage. Now, evolution, I say it does happen, but only within its own species. Not that there's one idea that came out of the ocean, but there's several developments because even there's a. I guess I'm not done with quite, but I'm going to try it this way. There's a natural development because mm, and because matter has an intelligence. It's like oxygen and hydrogen seem to bind itself like every chance it gets. It can't, it just, I mean, where's my oxygen? Where's my hydrogen? And they're all crazy about it, to volatile substance and elements in the universe. And they like, I cling to you like I belong to you and make you them one and creates water. So there's a natural response to all matter, all right, which they bind themselves. And I say that you can look at things that develop like worms and slugs and things like that. These are natural developments that happen within the earth and within the seas and stuff like that. There's natural development of all things if you give it the right conditions. All right, but there's also our capacity to um, develop these things uh, mechanically as we do. So there is a creation, there's an evolution to all things also. So with that, we'll go into Come Follow Me, and we'll see. If you have any questions about this stuff, or you have any, boy, you're crazy. All right, we can talk about it. See how crazy I am. We can uh, kind of jaw at it and leave a comment. Let me know how I'm doing. Again, I appreciate those who are watching at this time. Um, Share this video, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment, of course. And find me on Facebook on Arthur A.J. Hill and also For the Love of God group on Facebook. And so anyway, with that, we will continue on. And don't forget, you can email me too. Let's see, let's get on home here. All right, and get back to our Come Follow Me. Sorry for the rambling I just did for 30 minutes or 35 minutes almost. But we come together to learn more and have a better relationship with our Father in heaven and Jesus Christ. That's what we're here for. And and so again, if you are having struggles on whether or not um, that God exists, I hope that helps you. I hope that kind of formulates in your mind that you can't trust scientists when it comes to uh, knowing whether or not a God does exist. All right. God is a relationship, and you develop that relationship uh, like like this. You if you've been online and you're looking for a woman like I have a couple of times in my life, at least once, you know, only once. I've been married for 20 years almost, and a beautiful marriage. We all have our struggles, but it's been a great marriage. Wonderful wife. I was divorced once, okay, but that you go on LDS Planner or whatever they're, but you have to you read profiles, you find out about them through Facebook or Instagram or whatever that is. You learn about these people, You invest time into your relationship with them before you even meet them. So you're assured that there's some chance of, compatibility. And believe me, don't forget those zodiac and Chinese horoscopes, man. They really work. I'm telling you. And so, yeah, so reading the scriptures is most essential when it comes to developing a relationship with God. That way you learn who your father is and the son. You learn about how they interacted with others, their friends on Facebook, kind of thing, you know. But we have the Bible, historical book, a book of uh, of guidelines, which helps us develop uh, a successful uh, life when it comes to the pursuits of relationship, spirituality, and our and earning a living. So anyway, let's get to this. And we didn't get through everything yesterday because I was sick as a dog, and I wasn't going to be able to go an hour and a half. So we'll have to backtrack just a little bit, and we're going to go to Joseph Smith history and read that. Telling you, I feel a lot better today. I got a little bit of cough still, in my, and but we're whole. I mean, I was dying yesterday. You know, again, thanks for those who are um, here with me and sharing this time. I think it's important to start the day out with the Lord. And if you're and when trials and tribulations and decisions that we have come facing right in our face, we need to have the Lord uh, and His yoke cinched to us pretty tight. And because there's going to be times that we don't feel Him because He's carrying us, and we'll be like, "Hey, I'm getting uncomfortable. Give me another." You cinch this maybe up a little bit tighter. That's where we go and meditate and pray. We're actually cinching the yoke up to us even tighter, so He can help carry us through our most difficult trials. I love that yoke. The yoke is a great thing. The yoke allows us to carry 5 times much of the weight as we would be able to. Without the yoke, with Jesus Christ, we can only carry what we can carry as an individual. But with the yoke to Christ, we carry 5 times as much. And that's true for oxen. Uh, so owing to the many reports which have been put in circulation by evil disposed and designing persons in relationship to the rise and progress of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, all of which have been designed by the authors thereof to militate against its character as a church. And again, this is written in 1838, so he's using what he knows about his whole lifetime with when it comes with his relationship with God and the church, and so he's using that knowledge and also adding that feeling into this document. Uh, Again, you get a sense that this is something that is genuine to him, that he is actually feeling these thoughts that he's putting, that he's orating to his scribe, that these are not just mere words that he's orating, that these are meaningful words to him. I have been induced to write this history to disabuse the public mind and put all inquirers after truth in possession of the facts as they have transpired in relationship both to myself and the church, so far as I have such facts in my possession. If I remember correctly, this is after his many times in jail, or Richmond jail and Liberty jail, and where he's suffering. So again, he understands the grief that has been poured upon the church and himself, because he's lived through it, you know, and he cares about those people. the people that were murdered at Hansville and the rape and things like that went on. It's just horrible, and he knows about it, and he suffers because of it. And so he's doing everything he can possible to give support to us in our modern times, saying, "Look, there's people out there that are going to disabuse and the public mind against us, and they're going to want to destroy our faith." But here's the facts. What good is it going to do me to lie about these things? What good does it do anybody to lie eventually about uh, something that they hold dear to themselves? I am so sorry, but I got to take care of my nose once in a while, and it's unseemly. But if I drop the video and it goes dark, and it's worse than just go ahead and take care of things. And his history I shall present the various events in relationship to the to this church in truth and righteousness as they have transpired or as they at present exist, being now 1838, the eighth year since the organization of the church, of said church. Um, I was born in the year of the Lord, of our Lord, 1805, on the 23rd day of December in the town of Sharon, Windsor County, state of Vermont. My father, Joseph Smith Sr., left the state of Vermont and moved to Palmyra, Ontario, now Wayne County. In the state of New York, when I was in my 10th year or thereabouts, in the about 4 years after my arrival, father's arrival in Palmyra, we moved with his family into Manchester in the same county of Ontario. Again, the reason they moved from Vermont was the mountain in Indonesia had erupted, and so they because of that it damaged the atmosphere that they couldn't grow stuff in Vermont, so they moved to a better place. So again, they were forced out of there. His family consisting of 11 souls, namely my father, Joseph Smith, my mother, Lucy Smith, whose name was previous to her marriage, was Mac, daughter of Solomon Mack. My brothers, Alvin, who died November 19th, 1823, and then 26th year of his age, Hiram, myself, Samuel, Harrison, uh, William, Don Carlos, and my sisters, Zafrina, Catherine, and Lucy. And let me make sure that we don't have anybody trying to come on. Yeah, just garbage mail. Sometimes people message me say, "Hey, can I get on?" Uh, and then I have to give them a link. So apologize for the delay there. But anyway, sometime in the second year after our removal to Manchester, there was the place where we lived and unusual excitement on the subject of religion. Now, some people have contended that there was no um, real uh, there was no real excitement of religion at the time that Joseph Smith was talking about these things. I'm like, are you kidding me? Um, you just had a eruption of the mountain in Indonesia, and it wrecked uh, a lot of people's lives, and there's concern. You know, we always get concerned about things about. We're always looking to the time uh, that the return of the Christ happens, but we also are afraid of the what is coming before that time that the Christ returns. And so there's a lot of emotion. Again, the music changed in 2000 because you used to have all Jesus was in every secular song. It seemed like, or something to do uh, with religion up to that time, and then all of a sudden 2000 comes, and then there's no event, and then all of a sudden the music changed. So again, that was because it was built up that there was going to be those that event. Um, Sometimes in the second year after our removal to Manchester, there was in that the place where we lived an unusual excitement on the subject of religion. It commenced with the Methodist, but soon became general among the whole district of country. Uh, the whole district of country. Boy, it doesn't make sense. Seemed the whole district of country seemed affected by it, and great multitudes united themselves to the different religious parties, which created no small stir and divisions amongst the people, some crying low here and others low there. Some were contending for the Methodist faith, some were for the Presbyterian, and some for the Baptist. Uh, for notwithstanding this, the great love which the converts to these different faiths expressed at the time their conversion, and the great zeal manifested by the respective clergy, who were active in getting up and promoting this extraordinary scene of religious feeling in order to have everybody converted, as they were pleased to call it. Let them, excuse me, let them join what sect they pleased. Okay, well, let me play you for a minute. I'm going to tell you what you want to hear, but I'm really not liking the situation because you, my pockets are kind of getting light. Let them join what sect they pleased. Yet when the converts began to file off, some to one party and some to another, it was seen that the seemingly good feelings of both the priests and the converts were more pretended than real. For a scene of great confusion and bad feelings ensued, priest contending against priest, and converts against convert, so that all their good feelings, one for another, if they ever had any, were entirely lost in a strife of words and a contest about opinions. Now, again, kind of interesting that my friends who rail against us, not only do they rail against us, but hey, this situation came up in my life. Can you pray for me? You just told me y'all had a different Jesus, and you told me to ask me to pray for you. So again, how do you deal with that? Don't want to disappoint them, but I'm going to talk to my God, and that God is going to pour out His Spirit upon those who I ask. And so, if you think maybe and when people say, and I've had antis, full on anti, say, "Hey, can you pray for me?" I'm like, how can you even ask me that after you just told me that I worship Satan or something like that? They know the truth. All right. They're not stupid. They play the game, you know. But when it comes down to brass tacks, they know that we as Latter-day Saints have only one Jesus Christ. All right. It's happened more than once to me. And I've got him on record doing it too. So again, when they say that, you say, "Well, can I pray for you?" "Oh yeah, well, you can pray for me." Yeah, you say, "Well, pray to my Jesus then." Anyway, uh, pray to my God that you don't subscribe to. You can make fun of them. Don't make fun of them. Be gracious about it. That the fact that they are willing to ask you for that, don't tear it down. You know, people are hung up on power and gain so much that they will use any vice to tear you apart from the from this wondrous church. And believe me, this church is not for everybody. I get it. It could tear you apart. I mean, friends were, I've had friends come to me and ask me, and I'm like, look, it's really hard, you know. Again, Jesus Christ challenged the gentleman, said, hey, keep all the laws. Well, now you go sell all you have and come follow me. And they're like, yeah, not going to happen. Went off sorrowful. So it's a hard life. It's not for everybody. So don't pretend like it's for everybody, and do your best to love them no matter how they contend against you. Again, we should be out there contending for our truth and not tearing other people's face down. Let them have what they have, but you come with power and truth that you have to to uh, to the fight, and only your truth. You don't need to go and say, well, the Calvinists are going to think that Anne Frank is going to hell and all the babies. That ain't gonna get you nowhere. If you want to win a fight, yeah, you're gonna want to win a fight. Yeah, you get into the mud and you sling mud, but in the end, you both look like pigs. All right. So just come with truth, your truth. Have a solid foundation and contend with others with your foundation, with your truth, which is the greatest of all powers. All right. If they want to sling mud, all right, just just avoid the mud. All right. In the end, they're the ones that are having to get in deep into the mud to have an adequate supply to contend with you. And again, they look really dirty when they do that. And during this time of great excitement, my mind was called up to serious reflection and great uneasiness. But though my feelings were deep and often poignant, still I kept myself aloof from all these parties. Though I attended their several meetings as often as occasion would permit, I process of of time. Oh, excuse me. In process of time, my mind became somewhat partial to the Methodist sect, and I felt some desire to be united with them. But so great were the confusion and strife among the different denominations that it was impossible for a person as I was, as to as so unacquainted with men and things, to come to any certain conclusion who was right and who was wrong. Again, he's 1938, so he's 33 years old. He's reflecting back to his 14th age. Um, that's 20 years almost. So he's trying to give us his feelings that he was feeling at the time. And sometimes what's happening when he's delivering that message, he's actually, he can't escape the experiences he's already had for the last almost 20 years when that moment happened. So he does kind of filter in some of his now stuff and the stuff he experienced into these words. Now the Lord is guiding his words carefully, obviously, and he's oh, Amber says I'm doing great. Thank you so much, Amber. She texted me, and one of my followers. But anyway, so again, he's projecting back to the time that he was 14 years old as a 33-year-old. And again, he's trying to convey a message to us about what he was feeling 20 years prior to this time that he's writing this. And you could tell that there's sincerity in the words that he's speaking. And, doing great. God is okay. So my friend here says, "You're doing great." Thank you very much, Amber. Really, God is in all in it. You're talking about everything I thought about it. God reveals we're connected and through him. You're on target. Like I literally thought about it today, that the day before, and then you said it. Thank you so much, Sarah Amber. She's such great people. And we got one real good fan out there. And you know what? Again, we're doing this on our own. I ask people to allow me to participate in their larger YouTube channels, and boy, it's silence. All right, they look at my content or whatever they do, and they decide I'm not worth the time and effort. If we're out there preaching the gospel, if you're out there, you want to start a YouTube channel, or you want to develop, no matter how big or small I am going to invite you in and befriend you because this is a family, and we're out there to uh, um, uh, Amber, I hope I didn't read that and you didn't want me to, but I figured anything you text me, if you say, "Hey, just personal, not for the world," so next time I'll make sure that I ask for permission. But I'm sure that we could get through that if I made a mistake. I apologize. But uh, again, we're a family, and we're all out there trying to uh, create an avenue for others who are struggling or who are developing faith or searching for truth. We're all out there. And even though that I don't convey the message that you might embrace, there's others out there that you don't know that might hear my words and attach themselves to it because it works. All right. So please share this video, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave me a comment. And please find me on Facebook, Arthur A.J. Hill, and on Facebook group For the Love of God. And again, I have two other YouTube channels, A Latter-day Saint on Fire and Paul and AJ's Ex-Mormon Files. So there's a lot of content out there that I've made, and this is where I'm at for the Love of God Network. And so here I will stay. I will not be loading up any content on the other channels. At least in my mind at this time, I'm not. But mine was at times greatly excited. The cry of tumult were so great and incessant. I believe I said that word right. The Presbyterians were most decided against the Baptists and Methodists, and used, I believe, the election, the what happens to us after we die was kind of a poignant. They're like those who are Methodists and Baptists are Calvinists, and Presbyterians are Universalists mostly. And so, meaning that Presbyterians say that we're all saved in Christ if we accept Him, and then Baptists and Methodists say only the elect will be saved, and used all the powers of both reason and sophistry to prove their errors, or at least to make the people think they were in error. Or the other hand, the Baptists and Methodists, in their turn, were equally zealous and endeavoring to establish their own tenets and disprove all others. Um, while I was laboring under the extreme difficulties caused by the contest of these parties of religionists, I was one day reading the Epistle of James, first chapter and fifth verse, which reads, "If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and abradeth not, and it shall not, and it shall be given him. Okay. So again, you think about this. All right. The sequence of events are telling us, see, like I said, I'm an electrician. So I got to be able to read electrical diagrams where a wire is attached to one end of a switch to another. And I do industrial work. So there's a lot of complexities in those wire diagrams, and you got to know how logically uh, start following patterns of operations so that you can develop new conveyor systems, processing systems, or in order to, and I'm not that good at that, but I am good at uh, fixing errors within those. Uh, if you give me, I'll say, well, then you missed here, you missed there, kind of thing. But developing is kind of hard for me. Not good at that, but I am good at troubleshooting. Out of seven electricians, which I was not an electrician at my last job that I had, they told me I was the best electrician there because they had a machine down for 2 weeks and it was affecting me and my department. I'm like, I took my friend, I said, let's go take care of this. In 2 hours, I had it diagnosed. Right. So that's what I do. So I look for patterns and I look for events before and after and how they cross over. All right. And I'm very good at that. And so here you got Joseph. And again, Lucy Mack Smith has got her journal. I'm sure there's enough in there to show us that Joseph is actually uh, doing all the things that are written here in this history that he's writing. That there was a great excitement in the world of religion. Uh, that he was uh, often at different religious. I love going to different religions. I hopefully I can make it to my Catholic Bible study today. I don't know. I'm trying to, because I'm, have a cough and all that. I'm trying to make sure that I don't affect other people in a negative way with my sickness. But I love going to different religious conversations. I love it. It's my life. It's my love, my passion. So again, I really identify with Joe Smith, and I think there's good reason why I identify with him because for me, he is a reflection of who I am in a lot of ways. Now, I'm not an apostle, or excuse me, I'm not a prophet. I haven't seen God, but I know God does exist uh, with all sincerity. Um, the so, but again, I think he's exploring at 14 years old. He's all excited about it. He's really getting into it. And this idea that he reads James 1:5 after it was introduced to him, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God. If the events that are preceding the first vision are true, and the events post first vision are true, such as the visitation of the angel Moroni and the development of the witnesses through um, oh excuse me through the production of that book called the Book of Mormon. Then the center, which it all starts or it all feeds into, all right, the very fabric which it all started from, where he's going out to the grove and he prays. That has to be there too. You can't tie the two ends together. All right, you got to have something central to to uh, to this verse. Excuse me, to again religious fervor and to the James 1:5, and then to Moroni and also encountering him, seeing John the Baptist, and being given the Aaronic priesthood, and then later on with Peter, James, and John. There's got to be stuff that ties it all together, and the center point would be the first vision. Never did any. I'm working on it. Excuse me. And never did any passage of Scripture come with more power to the heart of man than this at this time of to mine. And I know what he's talking about. I've read things that like blew me up, and I'm like, there's something to this, and it like was on fire in me. I can't remember what that occasion was. I just know it happened. It seemed to enter with great force into every feeling of my heart. I reflected on it again and again. Okay, he's meditating. Remember, he's a deep thinker. When something grabs him, he's going to pound every ounce of understanding out of that that connection to this verse, knowing that if any person needed wisdom from God, I did. For how to act, I did not know. Yeah, 14-year-old, he's like, what do I do with this? I would never know. For the teachers of religion, the of the different sects understood the same passage. Yeah, it was like yesterday whenever I was contending with somebody, and he says that there's no more prophecy or revelation. But yet you go to Acts chapter 2, and it talks about John, and we've already discussed that. If you, I'll repeat a little bit just in case that people didn't see that one. It says in the last days that there will be prophecies and prophets and men and women would receive these things, and then the sun would turn dark and the moon turn red or whatever that is. I'm not going to go to the passage, but again, it talks about the last days, and again, until Jesus Christ returns, it's always going to be the last days. Even if it started, even if it started at the time that Peter uh, and the coming forth of the church at that time, even if it starts then, the last days continue until Jesus Christ returns. So and so we were at odds about that scripture, and it's plainly written. All right. So the simplest things that are written in the Bible are going to be contended against, and that's just the way it is. And it's unfortunate, but that's okay. I allow people to be where they're at when their faith and their understanding, and I again present my truth and leave it at that. Uh, let's see. Uh, I want to make sure where I'm at. At length, I came to the conclusion that I must either remain in darkness and confusion, or else I must do as James directs. That is, ask of God. I at length came to the determination to ask of God, concluding that if he gave wisdom to them that lacked wisdom and would give liberally and not upbraid, I might venture. Again, I was 12 years old, and I remember this time because I was uh, contemplating receiving the priesthood, and I went out and I prayed and prayed and prayed, and nothing happened. I'm like, well, strange. He talked to me when I was 30 or so, and didn't talk to me when I was 12, when I really needed it, where it could have taken me in a whole different path in my life, you know? But again, God is an efficiency nut, all right? He interacts with us when we are at the best precise moment that creates the greatest amount of effect in our lives. Working on this nose of mine, trying not to sneeze. So, in accordance with this, my determination to ask of God, I retired to the woods to make the attempt. It was on the morning of a beautiful, clear day, early in the spring of 1820. It was the first time in my life that I had made such an attempt. For amidst all my anxieties, I had never yet, as yet, made the attempt to pray vocally. After I had retired to the place where I had previously designed to go, um, having looked around me and finding myself alone, I kneeled down and began to offer up the desires of my heart to God. I had scarcely done so uh, when immediately I was seized upon by some power which entirely overcame me and had such an astonishing influence over me as to bind my tongue so that I could not speak. This thick darkness gathered around me, and it seemed to me for a time as if I were doomed to sudden destruction. I want to just elaborate on something here real quick and doing it through as I'm going through this. We were supposed to be talking about prayer today, but this is like the central point of everything. It's everything. Um, this is where it all takes place. All right, when it comes to the restoration. So the the 20 years that he has uh, passed, or 19 years that has passed since this event, right? Actually, be 18 years, whatever it be. Sorry. One or the other. We're talking about near 20 years, 18 years, 17 years since this event has taken place. He's had a great amount of time to either come up with a fabricated story or he's pondered everything that has happened to him since then and and what that moment really meant to him. And you can really, and as you read this, you can uh, for those who are believers, you should be able to be hopefully connected to this, what he has written for us to describe his feelings and how he interacted with the people around him and what that. But he's reflecting back again. He's reflecting back, and so he's taking great pains and suffering to bring about the best articulated uh, 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 reproduction of that moment and taken a picture of it and delivered it into words to us. And hopefully we can visualize this moment in our hearts and our minds. But it's been exerting all my powers to call upon God to deliver me out of the power of this enemy, which has seized upon me. And at the very moment when I was ready to sink into despair, and abandon myself to destruction, not to an imaginary ruin, but to the power of some actual being from the unseen world, um, who had such marvelous power as I had never felt before felt in any being. Just as that this moment of great alarm, I saw a pillar of light exactly over my head, above the brightness of the sun, which descended gradually until it fell upon me. Again, for my understanding of God's movement throughout the universe, he uses conduits of light to move from one place to another. And so this pillar of light that comes first is the conduit, which enables him to move rapidly from one place to another. Time stops and when you travel at the speed of light, as Einstein would say. It no sooner appeared than I found myself delivered from the enemy, which held me bound. When the light rested upon me, I saw two personages whose brightness and glory defy all description, standing above me in the air. One of them spake unto me, calling me by name, and said, pointing to the other, "This is my beloved son, hear him." Does he recognize what's going on here? Um, he continues to call them personages. He does not give us a name to these personages. He just knows two personages. And even later on in the scriptures, we know that it is Jesus Christ and his Father who the personage is. But at this time, again, he's older and he's reflecting back on what he was thinking at the time. And I think he's delivering it as honestly and truthfully to what he knew at the time and not trying to mix words or trying to add a lot into these. So he's given us a matter of fact kind of statements here. My object in going to into inquire of the Lord was to know which of all the sects was right, that I might know which to join. No sooner therefore did I get possession of myself so as to be able to speak, than I asked the personages who stood above me in the light, which of all the sects was right, for at this time it had never entered into my heart that all were wrong, and which I should join. I was answered that I must join none of them, for they were all wrong. And the personage, again, not Jesus Christ, is personage. And the personage who addressed me said that all their sects, all their creeds were an abomination in his sight, that those professors were all corrupt, that they draw near to me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. They teach for the doctrines, the command, the for the doctrines, the commandments of men, having a form of godliness, but they deny the power thereof. He again forbade me to join with any of them, and many of other things did he say unto me, which I cannot write at this time. When I came to myself again, I found myself lying on my back, looking up into heaven. Again, is he talking? So the Lord is helping him in this process of orating this to his scribes. I wonder if he's talking about the now moment that he's orating this, or was he talking about it at the time that he was 14 years old? I'm not sure. I think it's the now. I think it's when he's 33 years old that he's doing this. Um, yeah. Um, so anyway, so he's probably restrained a lot in what he could confess to the rest of the world on the exact events that were going taking place. You got some other descriptions in other places we'll talk about, but here we only get what we get. When the light had rest departed, I had no strength. Yeah, I would imagine so. You know, a lot. I mean, that seems natural. It wasn't like most people who have experiences or say they have experiences with the Lord are never saying, "Oh my, that took everything out of me. What do I do?" It's like they have a zeal, they have a new, even for myself, when I have these moments where the Lord has impressed upon me, I have a great zeal and a great energy about myself. But this one was unique that it took all of his strength from him. I had no strength, but soon recovering in some degree, I went home. And as I leaned up to the fireplace, mother inquired what the matter was. I replied, "Never mind, all is well. But I am well enough off." I then said to my mother, "I have learned for myself that Presbyterianism is not true. It seems as though the adversary was aware at a very early period of my life that I was destined to prove a disturber and an annoyer of the kingdom, of his kingdom. Else why should the powers of darkness combine against me? Why the opposition and persecution that arose against me almost in my infancy?" Again, he's felt the burden all this time, and he's reflecting back on, again, the those moments that he had great despair, Liberty Jail and other things, Hansville massacre and all that kind of stuff that he heard about, being arrested and incarcerated and threatened to be murdered by at the hands of the army, and his friends. Um, we are behind. I was drawn into a different subject before we got started, so now we are um, uh, where the subject should begin, and we'll go ahead and start it. But I hope you appreciate uh, uh, this moment that you get to study with me and actually go through the scriptures and really uh, become one with it. Because again, we're going to attach ourselves to. Thank you, Amber. Um, I if you don't if you don't become one with the word feast on the word of God is um, again, I have a friend, my only friend in the world right now. Everybody else is sleeping. Thank you, Amber, for letting me know that you're uh, going through some, you know, with me here. I appreciate it a lot. But anyway, the uh, lost my train of thought. All I'm saying is, if you're going to learn who your Father in heaven is and Jesus Christ, then you really got to know the personalities of those who interacted with them. And again, we have the words of Jesus Christ, and they're all through the Bible and Book of Mormon, Dr. Cummins, Pearl of Price, and many of good people outside of those have also spoken and let us know what that means. Their relationship with God has been. Um, but again, uh, we have to become very intimate with the writers, with those who we call prophets and apostles. So much know that we understand how they're feeling whenever they're going through the different situations they are, because their situations uh, oftentimes will come up and be right face to face to us with us, and we have only their courage and uh, their courage and how they made it through those difficult times to give us encouragement to get through it. I mean, anyway, how can I receive answers to my prayer? Let's get to that real quick, and we'll go ahead and do this one tomorrow too. But we'll start it today a little bit and give us an introduction. Um, and anyway, how can I receive answers to my prayer? Have you ever lacked wisdom or felt confused about a decision you needed to make? The experience Joseph Smith had in 1820 can serve as a good pattern for your own personal revelation. For example, as you search Joseph Smith history 1 5 through 25, look for experiences you can relate to. And we've done that a lot here. What do you learn about uh, how Joseph prepared for a sacred experience in prayer? Uh, Again, the role of scripture study in seeking revelation. What to do when you face opposition, accepting and acting on answers you receive. Invite, sharing, searching the scriptures, invites impressions from the Holy Ghost. Sharing these impressions can invite you invite the Holy Ghost to bear witness to others, as well as to you, the individual who is sharing. So anyway, we will get on to this tomorrow. Uh, we will also be watching Henry Bying's The First Vision and Pattern of Personal Revelation, and go through some of the stuff here. We'll definitely do that. I appreciate everybody that uh, and again, Amber's a real friend, and really great that she's able to watch this. And uh, again, I want to make sure that I don't miss something important here. Uh, and again, uh, leave a comment, subscribe to this channel, share this video, like this video. If you want to become a part of this intimately over Zoom, then go ahead and leave me a message. You can find me at Arthur A.J. Hill on Facebook, or on Facebook you can see you can find me on For the Love of God group. Also, you can email me. Uh, and so anyway, there's this has been a great moment here to share the time with the Lord and share time with those who have also been a part of this, and hopefully, hopefully we can do do for the world what the world can't do for itself, and that is to bring hope and joy to those who are in despair. And again, pray for the people in Southern California, LA area. Uh, Unfortunately, we put ourselves in a hole by the people that we elect, and I don't know how much more destructive destruction has to happen to California before they actually decide that the direction we're going is self annihilation. Um, it doesn't make any sense. Um, but again, pray for them, and pray for this channel, and uh, pray that that whenever the regime change and the presidency comes, that they are also very aware uh, and guided by Thy Spirit too, because they, there's a lot of complex things in the world that they have to deal with, and only the Lord and our Father in heaven can really uh, help manage those things as they deal with, as the president and his council will deal with them. So, for the love of God, pray often, pray always. It's been great having this moment with you, and see you tomorrow. And we'll be talking about prayer. And I know, before I leave, I'm just going to let you know, I know that my Father lives, that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, that the Father sent his only begotten Son, for those who believe in him may have everlasting life, immortality. And I know that Joseph Smith was a prophet of God. I know that Russell M. Nelson is a prophet of God. I have I have nothing to gain from that statement. I am not looking for converts doing this. I'm only expressing this because I know that there's might be somebody out there that will be listening to this that needs to hear it. And that's what I do it for. Again, proselyting, it's just a natural uh, consequence that happens no matter what. The way we act. Are we converting people to Christ, or are we converting people to the world? And that's the question. When you talk to them, are you talking to them about your relationship with God and your relationship with the church, or are you talking about the next great sports event that happens that day? Again, were you inviting them to? Is the question. And I say this in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.